Hi, my name is Nosha, some of you guys know me as Shobon, and this is a very, even by my standards, very low rent version of YouTube's. No efforts to be spared on this production values. Just gonna say a few, there'll be some shout outs and everything, but I'm bringing my story back in April of last year and continue it to May, because it's about a 12-14 month story. And that's the thing about the idea of time. It does take time to change things and improve. You can drop within a second, but to improve is a long-term process. The best example, as we've seen with Mauricio Pochettino. Let's go back to last April. As you can see there, San Diego Spurs in the background. I wear that scarf with God knows how much pride. And if I don't know, hopefully pretty soon, I'm hoping to see the Milwaukee Spurs and Arizona Spurs scarves. A couple of lads have promised me those scarves, and I'm very, very grateful, and thank you for that. Shout out to Joey and Gerard, and hopefully I'll see those scarves soon, and they'll take pride of place along with my San Diego Spurs scarf. But the reason I saw San Diego Spurs, it was just, I remember the reason I met Ben was because he did this really funny video where he goes, Siri, who's the worst football team right now? And I was like, uh-oh, Arsenal on our bottom of the table. And he goes, fuckers. And that was just a viral video, and that's how I got to know Ben, and I got to meet Ben, and eventually got to meet Ali, his wonderful wife, and met them in Northumberland Park, which is where I lived for, until I was about 12, and then before I moved to Enfield, and obviously Northumberland Park, obviously right near the Spurs ground. So yeah, and I met them, and we were trying to maintain a title race. It was looking hopeless. I mean, Leicester had built an incredible lead, and we were doing our very best to try and keep it going. But it was difficult. They had such a lead on them, and all we were doing was create a title race. But as soon as the end of April came, we bottled it apparently against West Brom, which we supposed we did actually. We did lose, but and then obviously drawing it at Chelsea with Stamford Bridge, and then obviously after that we just down tools. And what I liked about Mauricio Pochettino, he was just went fucking apeshit, and there were changes made. A lot of players were at the riot act, and they had to improve their games, and a lot of them did. But yeah, the reason I'm going to bring about San Diego is actually when I saw one of probably my favourite Spurs performance of the season. I mean, we've had some incredible performances. Obviously the Man U game, obviously the Arsenal, because obviously this is the finale. The Arsenal game, just because it was because it's North London derby, and just the way we finished it. But I think the West Ham game, which I just saw with Ali and Ben and Brandon and some of the other San Diego Spurs, because what I saw there was a fight. I mean, we always joke about West Ham playing us as like the Z Cup final. That was probably the toughest game we had, because they really put everything into winning that game. We had a Champions League tie, a very important tie against Monaco, and we had to shuffle the squad, and somehow we eked to win, but unfortunately we weren't able to maintain that. Obviously we weren't able to get a result in Monaco, and obviously we fell against Chelsea the following week, which again I saw in Chicago with these, second off Chicago, the 4-star, some of the 4-star Spurs guys. Give a shout out to all of the guys there, Nate, Kevin, Ozzy, Rich, who by the way is British, John, Corey, Tommy, Gary, obviously. So yeah, and the reason is one of the things is that some of you may know that one of my big things is jiu-jitsu, and that's why it led me to do a lot of travelling. So hence the Lucas Lecce, if you can see it, the Clark Gracie. I don't know if you can see that or not, but yeah. And Clark Gracie is the first place I trained. It wasn't the best, didn't exactly work out. It wasn't the best start to my journey, but it improved as time went on. And that's the thing about Spurs' journey. We don't start off brilliantly, but we improve as time wore on. And the reason that West Ham game was just so important is that we really, I think Dele Alli was on the bench. It was just a really tough game, but somehow we found the will and determination to make it happen and to get the win. And I remember being like, I couldn't watch the Harry Kane penalty. I was just so fucking nervous, and I ended up in a shop next door, like a souvenir shop, and then like jumping around like giddily when we actually won something. I was just ballistic running out into the street. I almost got run over as well. But yeah, it's that fact that it takes time to improve. I mean, the first thing, obviously, if you look at, say, Monaco, look at the team that they've developed, and look how they have improved. They weren't that same team last season. We beat the shit out of them. We thought, yeah, we'll walk this. By Leverkusen, probably, yeah, they weren't. We obviously lost to Dortmund. We thought, well, Leverkusen ain't no Dortmund, and they gave us a tough game. And Hugo, didn't win the Golden Gloves today, but he kept us in that game. That was probably his best game for us, I think, and he kept us in that match. Unfortunately, the Wembley effect, we lost, 2 important games at Wembley, and if you don't win your home game in the Champions League, as we found, home form is vital. If you can turn your home into a fortress, as we did, it can, increase your chances of actually winning. So, obviously, in terms of, we had the Champions League, and that wasn't successful. The Europa League, again, wasn't successful. We underestimated Genk. We didn't think they could beat us. Obviously, Dele Alli, his temperament finally caught up to him, and, it was a 2-2 draw. It was one of those things, but everything's a learning curve. We had to learn many things this season. First of all, how do we win without Harry Kane? Because the season before, Harry was injured for a fair bit. I think he was injured. I can't remember where was it. He got injured again, but he was injured for a bit of the season, and we struggled to score goals. We had to play Chadley or Sonny. We were really struggling. Secondly, how can we win without Dembele starting? People forget that Dembele wasn't even really featured that much, but it was that Liverpool game that turned it around. It was Klopp's first game against us, actually. It's when I met Calm and Erland for the first time. They're mates of mine from Germany, and just going on how I love the fact that Spurs has allowed me to meet so many wonderful people, and 2 of whom I met yesterday. So what I liked about Dembele just really showed it. He had to start, and then suddenly it all clicked. Dian Dembele was just an incredible force in midfield. We were scoring. Lamela was doing brilliantly. Dele Alli was getting the goals. Sonny, but then to a lesser part, but Ericsson. And this season, again, things weren't working. Harry Kane didn't score as early. Ericsson, there were rumblings about contracts and why wasn't he showing his best form, given he'd not been in the Euros. Dele Alli had he been found out? Lamela was injured. And we had to struggle with a lot of injuries, a lot of problems. And what I like about it is we did actually do that. Can't go over every game, but what I like is that Pochettino, it doesn't happen overnight, but he will develop solutions, and he already had a solution. Harry Winks is not the same player as Mr. Dembele, but there is a reason why we were able to let Ryan Mason go and keep Harry Winks. I love Ryan Mason. He's from Enfield, which is where I live now. He loves the club, and obviously he had that horrific injury, and I'm hoping he can resume his playing career. I actually met Mickey Hazard in Winchmore Country Club and Cricket Club, sorry. And I said to him, how do you feel about, obviously you brought Mickey, you brought Ryan into the club, and now he's gone to Hull. How do you feel? And he's like, guys, just football. And it is. Football's a very brutal, very cruel mistress. Probably the most cruelest of all mistresses, as we're going to talk about later in the season. But we started picking up results, but we weren't. I don't think we were over the top of the table. I mean, we were able to show that Man City weren't invincible. If you look at the BBC, they did a poll, and they said who they thought, and everyone thought Man City. They thought Guardiola, and look, I think Guardiola wasn't hiding to nothing. If Guardiola won the league, they'll say, "Oh, you're at Man City. Of course, you're a championship winning manager, Barcelona and Bayern Munich. Of course, you're going to win this with all the money that they're going to win. If they don't win, if he doesn't win, they'll say, "Oh, we knew you were shit." You had Messi, you had Messi and Xavi and Iniesta at Barcelona, and at Bayern Munich, well, they're the wealthiest club in Germany. They've got all the players like Lewandowski, X, Y, Z. So of course, you're going to, So. This was a bit of a Guardiola bashing, so it's kind of weird in a way that the guy who actually won the title, and it pains me to congratulate Chelsea because, at Conte, I mean, this is a guy that came in, had to get a Chelsea team playing again, had his wobbles, and overcame them. In typical Italian style. Sorry, that's a bit racist, but he ground out a whole bunch of 1-0 wins. That will be a lot harder next season when they're not in the Champions, when they're in the Champions League, and Kante can't play every game. And Kante. Did they say that playing with Kante is like playing, like when you have Kante and you're playing against a team of Kantes in it, like you're playing 12 men. It's just it's a tribute to his stamina, his work rate, and just his intelligence. He knows where to be, and that's he's an excellent player, and really deserving of winning, the PFA Player of the Year. And I think he probably should win. It'll probably go to Harry, but I think Kante, more than anything, deserves that title for for the writers' player of the season. But just moving forward, I definitely think that Tottenham have shown incredible ability. I mean, if you saw like that was that Southampton game, we were caught short, caught our trousers down literally, and and then a lucky deflection, for Sissoko. I mean, Sissoko was an odd signing, and we'll come to him later, but he, people forget that if it wasn't for that weird cross of his that bounced off someone else's head and was fortunate to find Danny Alley, we might have gone to lost the game. We would have had that incredible run that we then went on to have. Obviously playing Watford. I mean, that was just I just realised. People say there's Golden Gloves, but we lost some. Those awful goals that we should never have conceded, like the one at Watford, the one at Leicester, the one at Hull today. And that's denied the Golden Gloves. And that's if you look at, say, again, Thibaut Courtois, he's won the Golden Gloves because he was able to fashion out 1-0 wins. He won't be able to do it. I don't think it's one next season. Don't get me wrong, Kante's a very smart man, and he will, he'll be in the Champions League, so he can attract players. Number one. Number two, he can, just because of their wage structure, they can afford to bring players in, and obviously, our wage structures. Obviously, there's been rumours about Carl Walker. What happened there. So again, we'll come on to that later. Sorry if this goes on a little bit, but it's been a long season. But highlights for me, obviously, apart from meeting. Obviously, I got to meet some of the LA Spurs again for the second time in January, just before we played Chelsea, and that was awesome. And that game was like a real. I think that showed how close the right race would be, because you had two teams, very similar styles, good work ethic. Could hit. Had match winners, and Dele Alli's a match winner. Hazard and Costa are match winners, and it basically came to a chance that they didn't take their chances, which I think they only had two in that game, and we took ours, and that was it. Fast forward to April, the semi-final, we had loads of chances, we didn't take them. They were ruthless and took theirs, and it's that ruthlessness, and it is, as Mickey has said, football's ruthless. If you don't take your chances, and it's really weird because we got a 60 plus, I think, 55 goal difference or something, some stupid amount. And I want us to be more clinical, but we do need to be, because there are games that we drew, we should have won. And it was those away games, the West Brom game in particular, that comes to mind. Sunderland not so much. Sunderland actually played a decent game, and they were rested and they had all the time in the world to prepare for us. But just the way sometimes pictures fall. Sometimes pictures fall kindly in your favour. As in, like, obviously the Leicester and Hull games. Leicester had nothing to play for. Hull had fuck all to play for. Man United, they're focusing on the Europa League, so that again has played into our favour a little bit. Sometimes they don't. It's just the way football is. It's just football. You have to, if people say, "Oh, if we'd won these many points last season, we won a Champions," well, you didn't. It's all about what have you done in this year. How good have you been this year? I mean, you'll hear Winger talking about you had 75 points, most times that we could use Champions Leagues. Well, we had 72 points, I think, under AVB one time, and normally that was our highest ever point total, and that would have got us Champions Leagues, but they just didn't. It's all about what you're doing this season and what you're doing to lay the seeds, during in the season and in the obviously off season, to lay the seeds, of growth for the following season. And you look at Arsenal, they're in fucking turmoil. There's no vision. There's fans fighting with each other. Wenger in, Wenger out. Troops, fan blood, fan whatever. So and there's no cohesion. And again, we played a team today at Hull. There's turmoil off the the guy wants to sell, but nobody wants to buy it. You've got there's doubts about the manager. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? That feeds into the players. Football's a very delicate thing, and there are fine lines. The margins are so fine in this. No, but in terms of like talking about how we've done, I think I am. Obviously, I wasn't there for the Arsenal that Martin Lane fended off, and I would love to have been there. It was amazing, but I'm just very grateful that I got to meet some incredible people over the year. So we all know what happened, but I'm going to go forward to April. So April, my mates from San Diego came over again, and I want to say it's for my birthday. They didn't, but I got to meet a whole bunch of great people from Hoboken. So that's Barry, Michael, Jake and Joey from the Arizona Spurs, and obviously San Diego Spurs. Again the Ben Alley, and they're gonna have they'll be giving thanks in more ways than one, because they're gonna have there'll be a patter of tiny yids in November. So congratulations to them. And I just love that whole idea of the Spurs family that we created, and that family group that I think has made us a lot better than a lot of the other teams. Man City, they can buy many things, they can't buy that. You can develop it. Liverpool had that boot room boy, the Boodle boys, that mentality, and they were very lucky to actually get into the Champions League. I mean, they should have, been there. They should have secured it ages ago. I don't think they were conspiring to give Sky and BT and BBC something to talk about, because that was all. The champion. Let's face it, title was decided about a week ago. Relegation decided last week. The only thing left is the race for fourth, and it's not barely even a race. You've got Liverpool playing Middlesbrough at home, and relegated, and they should be able to win that. You have Arsenal playing Everton. Not saying they should be able to win that, but obviously they did. But it's a tough game, and you've got Man City playing what ended up being a manager in his last game for the club, and he probably thought, I'm out of it, I'm fucking off. I ain't gonna bother doing that much. Players, apparently someone started to tell me that they played, is it Madonna's Holiday at halfway Vicarage Road, and you gotta give football fans credit. So we have some fucking great humour. But going fast forward, obviously I was for me it's a personal thing. I'm regretful for the season. I want to give thanks to some guys at Spurs Forum.co.uk. Now a lot of them give me shit for doing this, and please keep on giving me shit. It doesn't fucking bother me. It really doesn't. But I want to thank a few guys. I want to thank a guy called King Jurgen Cage. I wasn't as passionate as a Spurs fan as I am now. I did, although funny enough, there was a bit of YouTube's going on back in 2008. But in 2005, for those who don't remember, there was the BBC had a 606 message board, and then you'd post on that, and there was but eventually you couldn't post it all night long, and you couldn't. There was no way to talk to people. It was only certain hours. It was moderated, blah blah blah. And this guy called King Jurgen, he actually created a message board. Now there are other message boards that I've heard of. Obviously Spurs Odyssey is one I go on, but it's through Spurs Forum that I got to connect to other Spurs fans, because I didn't really go to a lot of games, because you've got to remember from basically I was always working on Saturdays, and by the time I was able to afford to go to games, I developed other interests, and let's face it, Spurs are pretty shitty. They were just horrible. I mean, there's a horrible George Graham era. The false dawn of the Glenda era. You thought, oh, he's going to change things around, and nothing ever happened. Obviously, Sol Campbell doing what he did, and it was a horrible place to be. And I was just thought, fuck it, I don't want anything more do this shit. And you got to give credit to a guy called Big Martignol. He made it. He gave us pride again. We went from being mid-table, and we were lucky if we were going to be mid-table, to being European contenders in the league, which I don't think had ever happened for 30 years at that time. So I think it does show that if you've got the right leadership at the top, and if it can either do you well, i.e. like Birkinshaw, or I don't know whoever the manager chairman was before that, or if you've got the wrong leadership, the wrong owners, and the wrong direction, like guys like Scholar, who'll end up fucking bankrupting you, and no matter how good you are off the field, if things aren't on the field, if you have things are right off, they can impact on the field. And Ashur came on. He didn't really do a good job. I mean, sell Paul Gascoigne, which I don't get why. Obviously, he's like, oh, I'll sell him. But, I'm a big Spurs fan. We had to be in Europe. That was the FA Cup final, was probably the most important game, because he wasn't save us. And I think if he was a bit more, visionary, he would have realised that, Premier League, big explosion of cash, but that's why he does shit like The Apprentice, But then, obviously, it was a horrible period. I mean, we had some bright moments, obviously Jurgen, Teddy, but it wasn't sustainable. We were like sparks, but there was no flame, there was no fire that we could build upon. And my favourite food is like, slow cooked meat. You need a good roaring fire, you need to feed loads of fire, slow cook it, and it just takes time, You need heat and you need time. And right now we're both hot and we have the time to develop, what we are as a club. I don't think we'll ever have the Man City or Chelsea money, and I don't want that. I don't want to. One accusation you can't throw at Leicester or Arsenal is that they haven't bought the title. Leicester maybe fudged their FFP in the league, but they haven't bought the title. They actually they earned it. Man United, you say they bought it, yeah, but that's from commercial revenues. They don't have, yeah, they've got billionaire owners, but we've saddled them with fuckloads of debt. But when Van Gaal and Mourinho, whatever, just because they're just such a huge commercial model, even Liverpool have that huge commercial scale. Hopefully, we can get to that. We are obviously building a North American market. That's why we're there in about a month's time, I think, or a couple of months. And we're trying to build a big Asian presence as well, which is why we're there next week. And hopefully we can build that commercial thing. But hopefully it'll be a combination of commercial revenues, TV money, and stadium. Obviously for those of you who don't know, there's a big fucking hole in the West Stand right now. So but let's face it, the prawn sandwiches would have fucking rotted that in first anyway. But yeah, just going forward, I'm so glad that what we've done at this club. I'm so glad that we've achieved something so special. And I mean, from a personal point of view, I got to see a guy chatting shit, Jack Wilshere, about the club and breaking his leg. I don't want him to break his leg, but I remember I think I was with Ian and he was like, because I was very lucky to get a ticket for that. That was obviously my birthday that weekend, and I said, and he goes, it's happening again, Jack Wilshere, it's happened again. And then to be able to, go to Spurs Lady, watch them beat the fuck out of West Ham, and they got to meet a couple of their players, and they were very nice. They let them, so I took pictures with them, and I got a shout out to Catherine, and then to go to the Spurs youth game and to see it from the Park Lane, which was for me very special because growing up in Northumberland Park Lane was a huge part of my life, and it was just there was a nice way to say goodbye. Got to touch the pitch, even though it's the plastic bit, not the actual grass. And like the lucky gets, I got to storm the pit, storm the pitch invasion the last game of the season. But it does take time, and you have the right leadership, and we've got that both on the field, now as much as and off the field in terms of Levy, what he's finally done. It does take time. Running a football club, being a football club chairman is not a science. It's not a case of just bit of this, bish bash bosh. There's no a lot of things go into it, and sometimes the luck can favour you, luck can go against you. Let's face it, when Arsenal developed their the Emirates, which we will probably end up having a big corporate bowl as well, no luck, but it will be they can envisage Chelsea having their debts wiped out and having a billionaire saver. They couldn't envisage Man City having a billionaire benefactor, and they definitely couldn't envisage PSG, and that's changed the level playing field for every team going forward. Now obviously I don't think you may dispute this, but I don't think obviously people have tried it. Like Malaga, they tried it with billionaire owners. Look how well that turned out. But I don't think we'll see that likes of another billionaire buying a club, and really turning them around. Maybe obviously I know Mike Ashley's a billionaire, but I don't think he's got his money where his mouth is. Like literally those kind of deep pockets, could happen, but I doubt it. I think what we've done, especially by having NFL games, for those, I mean, there were 2 games there a season, and what they're planning there is to have, I mean, obviously, for those who don't know, they actually own the land that the Sainsbury's is on. So, I mean, if they're having people going there all the time, they're going to be people going to the Sainsbury's, people going to the shops, everything. They would be making money hand over fist. It was just, that's just, Sainsbury's aren't going to build a fucking massive, supermarket, which is fucking huge there. For the sake of it, they're building it because they think they don't make money there. They had a slightly smaller one just off Brentwood Road, and they've built this food stamps. That's bringing them a lot of rent money to us. If that or if not, they fucking paid the club a shitload of money for it. You've got the hotel, the houses. So sadly, none of which are commercial housing, which are social housing, but that is gonna hopefully get some more homes into into Tottenham, and just like what we're doing off the pitch is just incredible. I mean, what I like about it is even though when we lost against West Ham, when we apparently bottled it again, believe me, if you could bottle what Spurs have done, every club would be wanting to buy it. Honestly, they honestly, if you could, let's face it, other teams couldn't afford to buy our piss. Honestly, they couldn't bottle our piss. That's what I say right here and now. If you see like Man City, I mean, people say, oh, they're looking after Kyle Walker. But do you know what? They can have him. 45 million. Because, let's face it, Man City have got more money in a sense. Kyle Walker's ageing. And I don't blame him. I think it's the perfect deal for everyone. If Kyle Walker gets there, he gets paid, like, bonkers wages. I don't know, 160 grand a week. Go for it. You'll be one of the most expensive fullbacks probably 45 million or something, out of some stupid amount, on ridiculously high wages. So all the pressure will be on you. And the one of the things that they talk about are that there's a system. You know, if you look at the solar system, whatever, everything works in a certain function. And I don't think that all the players like planets around, the pot, which who is the sun really, and there are other, everything works so beautifully well together. You try and go out of it, go to another system, see what you do. I mean, Lallana is the only player I can think of that really is what you consider a Pochettino pupil that's gone on to do well outside. I mean, obviously he's at Liverpool, so that tends to help. But Schneiderlin, nope. Short, nope. People say Chambers, no. Klein, he's done alright, but I don't think he's really. I mean, really, I see him challenging Carl Walker. And people say, I wouldn't mind getting Danilo. I don't think I'll get him. He's ridiculously expensive, but see, something's working out as a favour. And it's a World Cup year. I don't know how many left backs, right backs Brazil have, but if Dani Alves, he's probably not playing in the World Cup in Brazil. I don't know if he's retired or not internationally, but if they say to him, look, you've got a chance to play another World Cup, let's make up what happened in 2014 in our own home country. He'll take it. Danilo will want to play. Obviously Carvalho's obviously the first choice there. Why not put a bid in for him? Sell Carl Walker for 20, 50, 40, 50 million. And buy someone like Danilo for 30 million. He speaks Portuguese, so obviously him and Eric Dyer will get along very well. Obviously speaks Spanish, having been in Real Madrid for 2 years, so he can speak with Pochettino, and hopefully he'll learn English. And we saw Koulibaly Trippier put some really good crosses in. Now, look, let's face it, Hull were fucking useless. They really were so bad, and it pains me to say that. I'm doing Dawson, Huddleston. I would have happily lost this game if it meant that those guys staying up, but then Swansea would have gone down, and Tommy Carroll, and who I've not hard on before, but definitely always rated, Siggy, who people say we should bring him back. I'm not too sure. I think he's a good player. I think he is. I would prefer, say, Siggy to Ross Barkley, who I think Ross Barkley facts to the sea, but I think what Ross Barkley has got going from him is the youth. But I'd rather have Goretzka. I think you've got someone who's got qualities, is actually physically strong, can put his foot in, and can play in Dembele's position, can play in Eriksen's position, can play in Dele's position if need be. And that's all I go for. The other player I go for Sessegnon. I'd only bring in 2 players, Sessegnon, and for me personally, I would loan him out to back to Fulham for a year, play for another year, stay with your love, stay with your light, help them come up to the Premier League, And we are lucky that he is based in London. To take a kid at 17 years old, that, Liverpool's not that far away, but we saw with Zaha, some players thrive on moving to opposite sides of the country, and they do very, very well. Obviously, I think, I'm going to play from Liverpool now, the one that was at Burnley. It's going to drive me nuts now, but he went to Burnley. I think he's from Hampshire, but it didn't really work out from Liverpool because of injuries. And there's the other thing, injuries sometimes work for you and work against you. I mean, Liverpool have had God knows how many injuries. Sturridge, obviously Man U lost Zlatan to an injury, to a horrible injury. And this, so we obviously we lost Winks and Lamela to injuries. We lost Danny Rose to an injury. I mean, my mate, my bro Erland, he's actually an orthopedic surgeon. I said, well, I'll ask your opinion. Obviously, you can't look. Obviously, you're not looking at the patient files, but generally, surgery is like the last resort, right? Because generally it is. You want to try alternative treatments because I don't know if you saw Football Focus, but Jared Butland, apparently they put the screws in the wrong place. They weren't in the right places to secure the fracture, and that's why he wasn't able to show his injury. So he's been out for ages. Again, sometimes luck pays, sometimes luck doesn't. It's just the way things are. So anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I just want to thank everyone who I've met along this year and part of my journey. Obviously Kaylee as well, who I met in the New York Spurs, some of the LA Spurs, obviously Ash, Ellie, who, it's great to see you as always. And just thank all of them. Big shout out, just there's going to be on the 28th, next Sunday, there's going to be a little walkabout in the Albert Palms. So if you guys can, I recommend it. It's a great way to learn about Tottenham's history. I'm discovering new things every day about Tottenham, and I'm finding. And I'm even going to Bruce Castle Park, and it literally is right near Bruce Castle Park and near Bruce Castle Museum. So yeah, check it out. A guy called Pete Haynes running it. And so yeah, look forward to hopefully meeting me some of you guys there. They do a really nice beer called Hopspur beer. Fucking watery. I mean, literally, you drink a pint of that and you're pissing it out like 20 minutes later, and pissing it out. But believe me, honestly, you could bottle that piss and people would buy it because it's Spurs piss. It's called Hopspur beer. Hopspur down the road in Northumberland Park. So anyway, just give a shout out to so many people. Jimmy Chang, who I got to see the games with. Uh, 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 Ivan Woodhouse, who's been kind enough to lend me his ticket on occasion, so I've been able to go to some games. All the American Spurs I've met, all the German and Norwegian Spurs I got to meet over this year. Just everyone I got to meet over this year, thank you for making this a wonderful experience. And yeah, I probably won't see many of you at Wembley because, for those who don't know, I live literally, well, down the road from White Hart Lane, so probably won't go to many games. But I want to say big thanks to Steve and Tina for making. Oh, by the way, Debs, who makes the best cakes in the world, she is our queen of Bake Off. Honestly, I haven't tasted. Unfortunately, Anne Kaczynski, who's the baking bitch, decided to be in Indiana. When I was in Chicago, and I was like, wait a minute, I've come from Indiana, Chicago. You're going the other way, so I need to have your baked goods. That was nowhere near an element there, and I never got to have Ellie's cakes either. But she did make me a nice cup of tea when I was at her gaff. But anyway, I digress. No, just talking about people I've met over the year, and just thank you for that. And it's just been a wonderful year. I've had a wonderful birthday. It's just been an amazing year, and I'd like to thank everyone involved with Spurs, who support Spurs, and just thank you for from the bottom of my heart. And guys like Mickey Tomkinson, Ian, who I sat next Paxton Lower, Jerry, just everyone, and just thank you all. You've been a great part of the season, and yeah, as always, I'd like to thank you for being a great part of what Spurs is all about to me. Thank you so much. As always, come on you Spurs.